Hello, beautiful people. We are back again with part two of the Barbara Walters interview with Abby Dagnese, whose information is in the description box. Hello, Erik. You've been such a great help in supporting this interview. So I really appreciate that. And I love you. Now,
Sitting on
Miss
this blue
Walters.
velvet couch right now. He's sitting on this blue velvet couch and he's still wearing
Oh,
his suit and he just looks so handsome.
oh, he's my handsome boy.
He's going like this.
Oh, my God. You're so funny. All right. So thank you for staying for part two, Miss Walters. What was it like for you? And this must be incredible, being the first female in news and journalism. And what did she look forward in it about? I don't understand
No,
that.
I wasn't the first female.
Oh, you weren't? Okay.
There were other women as well.
Okay.
Saying it's more that I was so given the opportunity to, and it was part of my soul contract to pave the way for other names out there to be more broadcast
Okay.
and well known. She's bringing up like Katie Couric
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Right. Okay.
and others, just others along the way. She wasn't the first. There were many others. She feels very proud of the work that she accomplished and the work that she did. She worked very, very hard. There were a lot of late nights, a lot of
Oh,
long,
yeah.
a lot of times that she self-sacrificed,
Yeah.
family time, friend time,
Yeah.
her own personal life, sleep,
Oh, gosh.
showing me on a plane a lot, um,
I know.
saying,
So,
don't little what it took me to get there.
that's a
And
lot.
other women as well that did try the path and for whatever reasons God gave, God as in source,
Yeah.
they weren't able to do as much, but there was a lot of women that did a lot.
Yeah.
So
So, your interview style was very aggressive, right? Kind of reminds me a little bit of Ted Koppel. Y'all are similar in your style, are you not? I
she
mean,
says I was that was actually her natural way though, was
yeah,
she's
yeah,
she's kind of like you, Elisa, because she's like, yep, get to the point.
yeah. I know, I know, I know.
Our doctors are like, yep, 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 get to the people take it personal, but it's like it's just your personality style. It's
yeah,
just,
yeah.
and that's how she is. She's just like, okay, let's get to the point. Let's get to
I
what
like
I'm
that. I mean, otherwise, what is the point? Come on.
exactly. It's like so that way I can get my job done.
Yeah,
And it was like that way with she was a good listener though. She really was a good
I could
listener.
see, I could watch
Uh,
her face when she listened. She is, yeah,
really is a good listener. She thought it was very important to listen to the words and how they're articulated out of somebody. She goes, because how else am I going to engage
yeah.
with that person if I can't? And she's bringing up those serial killers again that she's
Mm.
interviewed in jail. And she's showing me, how she really needed to respect the fact of humanity and that we're all, at the end of the day, here on this earth, we are all human, no matter how many humanistic qualities are completely taken out of us. She's saying everybody has a reason, whether that's for mental abuse you received as a child, or that's a chemical imbalance in your
Yeah.
brain, or you feel it is your duty, she's saying, to rebel against society. She's saying you have to take the humanness of what somebody actually is and find something in common with that.
Mm.
Be able to get yourself to such a plane that that you're not guiding the conversation or the interview or the interaction in a biased way, but more of an informational way.
Okay.
She's
So,
saying,
oh, go ahead.
she's saying sometimes she was very good with her boundaries. So much better than me.
And me.
She really did have to sometimes put up that she was very good at naturally putting up that energetic boundary and barrier. So that way, when there were with a lot of people that the public, even the public's eye, so that way it didn't affect her negatively.
Oh, yeah.
She could go home and sleep at night. She says, sometimes I went home and I cried. She
Oh,
says, I cried and I cried. She says, I was a human being. I felt things. It
Oh,
was not my job, she's saying, to have you see every single time I cried, that I was human. I felt things.
of
And
course.
I'm saying, I feel like you were actually, when I watched her on TV, I did feel like her compassion. I
Yeah.
did feel those things from her. It's not like she was just this, like, you know,
Robot. No. But here,
no.
this is an interesting next question then. So apropos, did you ever feel like your determination to get the story outweighed your empathy as a fellow human being? I don't feel that.
That was the point of answering the last question.
Yeah. Right.
Everything
Saw
just
this
said
coming.
that question as well. So,
Yeah. So of course you had empathy. Why did you continue to tell fake news even though you knew the actual truth? Well, first of all, is that even true?
she says, I played a role and I played a part. And some of my parts were to follow the job description.
Yeah.
And again, it brings it back to the producers and the network. And
Ratings, money,
who she says, it's funny how
job
you
security.
are to have this persona of who you are exactly. And then everybody, she says, we'll say everybody loves it. Let's say everybody loves it. She says, and now you're Barbara Walters. She goes, and now, like, she didn't say like, I said like, sorry. She wouldn't talk that
No,
way. But
you and me.
she's showing me imagery right now of her having a fight with her husband in the morning, really early in the morning, and fighting the night before with her husband, the many,
Yeah.
or just even interactions or negativity, and then having to walk on set and just leave that behind and be Barbara Walters and do your job and be in the moment and be engaged. She says, boy, that's exhausting.
Oh, I can imagine.
Don't you think that's an exhausting life to
Yeah.
lead?
Yeah. Well, at
Um,
least you get a break
yeah,
right now.
I
You get a
totally
break.
think you know, it. I'm
It's
agreeing
true
with
for mediums and stand-up comics and all that. It's very difficult.
and Eric's actually, all three of us are sitting here having a conversation about that because it's like Eric's even saying this too. It's like you think like mediumship, you think mediums, and you're gonna go into it without thought processes. Yeah, you fucking do, he says.
Yeah.
He says, we're all just people, we're all wrong sometimes. He's saying, we're not all like, waterfalls and sunshine and like stage and everything like crazy. He's saying people you can't help but represent, and he's bringing up you, mom. He's saying like you, mom. He says you're a doctor. You had a role to play, and
Yeah.
you had a persona. He's saying, and then there was a shift. He's showing you driving home from work in your car, and it was almost like you had to go from ER mind to now mom mind, right? And there had to be that time he's showing me the shift in you where it was like, okay, now it's
Yeah.
for dinner. What am I going to do for dinner?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
where's
It wasn't
so
that much. I was kind of like me, the authentic me with my patients. The thing that I had a trouble discarding, changing, was the propensity to want to fix everything, including fix anything that was wrong with my kids, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there was that. But I'm not being interviewed here, so I
but
got so
Barbara
many questions.
this was very pointful about why we're using you as a reference.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because she's saying of the fact of the matter is I was still a human being.
Yeah, of
Now
course.
interviewing some of the most publicized people that have ever existed on the planet because and a matter of importance who they are, and I have to rise above the theory of who they are. It
Oh,
go after having breakfast, arguing with so and so, being a mom, having my own personal, and then going into this and then coming out of that. She's saying, isn't that just so unnatural? Like,
it
really,
is.
when you think about it and how energetically exhausting that
I
is.
know. So, do you feel like you were biased? Someone wants to ask.
She right away said, no, I was not biased.
I didn't think so either. Did you protect people from negative news? It feels like you gave it all out.
I was not afraid to put myself out there.
Yeah.
there was a lot of times that she was critiqued and a lot was said. She got pulled into the principal's office a lot.
Oh boy. Well, did you try to protect people from negative news? Or did you have faith in people to deal?
Okay, so there started to be a point here where she shifted with her way to be able to control her position in the job of journalism and what she did.
Okay.
Because there did start to be a shift, much more in relation to, she's saying, with society and the economy and how that all affected and grew and changed and evolved. She's showing me Y2K and what happens in the informational age. She's saying, at some point she was lucky enough to be able to dictate and have more control over what position her career went into and what she did. She's saying, so when it started to be much more chaos of like fake news stuff,
Yeah.
she was able to, she says, I was good at organizing myself in the right directions with the right people in the right ways most of the time, to be able to give accurate information, to be able to actually give her, like she's bringing up the view, be able to actually give her view, and be able to say and give her opinion.
Yeah.
So by the time it was like completely controlled and, who knows, God only knows what's going on in the world kind of thing. She's saying there were a lot of authentic broadcasters that were out there. She's bringing up Peter Jennings. Oh my God, I love Peter Jennings.
I barely remember him.
Too.
He was handsome. I remember that.
I don't know what I have for news broadcasters. I'm always like, oh, I love David Muir. I was married.
Well, he had some problems. He lied a little bit about something. I can't remember. Like, I don't want to go into him. But do you think fake news is a big problem now? We just not recently, but had the Hunter laptop thing denied. It was Russian collusion, and 51 FBI agents signed a letter, that it was Russian disinformation when it really wasn't, and they knew it. All that. Is there a problem with fake news now? And if so, what can we do about it? I mean, why have any news at all if you don't know what's fake and what's real?
The age of information and networking is actually so much authentically out there too.
Yeah.
Because of our own cell phones and our own abilities to.
Oh yeah.
The ability. She's really bringing up, we have the ability to all see the fake news and know there is fake news, and we have the ability through so many different outlets now to be able to really rationalize out what you think and what your opinion is. And she says, I want to spin this as, isn't that a lucky thing?
It is.
Instead of having just 4 channels on your TV, or
because now people have their cell phones. They're gonna videotape things and capture facts.
So it's actually, there are a lot of ways that you can informationalize, she says, through the modern age of technology. You hear so much negative content out there about fake news, but there's actually so much positivity that comes out of all of the different organizations, she's saying is the word.
Okay.
He is actually bringing up Elon Musk.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But she is saying, that things have been rebranded, things have been rebroadcasted, things have been republicized in a newer age, in a newer format and way that will only help us to see through it. She says anybody should think about what they put in their minds and what they put in their heads. And it's because even before you go into it, you already sometimes make up your own judgment, she's saying, about something. And then you see it and it's like, oh, I was right.
Oh yeah, right.
So she's saying she's actually really encouraging people to live above the standard of judging based on prejudgment, really do the homework assignment
Yeah.
of really reaching into it and understanding it. Like, for example, what's happening right now in, overseas
Yeah.
and the chaos over there. And then really be able to make up your own opinion. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted because there's so many helicopters. I live in New Hampshire.
Really?
Yeah, well, there was
Oh, that
mass.
Robert Card thing. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's only like an hour and a half from where I live.
oh
So,
my God.
yeah, they haven't found him yet, and so
Wow.
there's just
Is he dead, you think? Do you
so
feel him
I can't.
alive?
Oh my gosh! So all last night, all morning, I've been like trying to get my own read on this if he's alive or not,
You're
and
too close to the story, probably.
no, I was getting that he wasn't alive, but like I don't want to put that out there and then be
No,
wrong.
right. Right.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
honestly
no, no.
I
It's too
can't.
hard when it's so personal and, in your own
I think
backyard there.
I have fear in it right now
Yeah, you have
because
too much fear,
I
of
live in
course.
the state, and everybody has Halloween parties and stuff this weekend. So in my own mind,
Oh,
I'm like,
God.
I want to go to a Halloween party on Hampton Beach, which is so close to Maine, and it's a really well-known area. And what if something happens because it's a
Yeah,
giant bomb?
yeah.
So I think the
Yeah,
fear element makes it
yeah,
hard.
yeah. Don't worry about that. We're not going to let
Actually,
you do that.
Barbara's stepping in right now.
Oh, okay, Barbara, what you
Barbara's
got?
stepping in. She's saying, but that actually, she's saying there is no accidents, Abby. Like that. I'm even bringing this up though,
Oh,
because for her, going into news broadcasting, there are elements of fear which dictate how something comes across. And when you're trying to come across as like authentic as you can and as non-biased as you can, she's saying that she goes, don't you think I was that human that had the fear of misinterpreting
oh,
somebody's words,
yeah, yeah,
fear of misunderstanding somebody, and the fear of just like my own facial expressions,
yeah, yeah.
saying, I always had to deal with that own unbiased, unjudgmental fear. And when that was released from me in my humanness, she says, boy, what a relief. The bricks just
Oh,
came off. The bricks just came off.
nice. So I
Can I
don't
ask?
think you were purposely biased. I think that, like any reporter, maybe the truth was really hard to discern. So, was your life ever in danger?
Okay, first off, she had opportunities to give her own opinions. She
Yeah,
had
good.
for
Okay,
people
yeah,
to know her opinions. It's not like it was just like, oh, nobody actually knows what she thinks. Mm-mm.
oh yeah, right, of course.
She
No, I
had
remember
opportunities
that.
to know how she
Yeah,
felt.
yeah.
Sometimes she says whether it was an appropriate platform to do it on. She goes, that was the question. That's what was the question was, were there appropriate platforms? Yes, there were,
Yeah.
Sorry, go back to your question.
Was your life ever in danger?
Oh yes. Oh yes. She had
Mhm.
stalkers. She
Yeah.
had
Well, you
mental.
were also in war torn areas too. I mean,
That was only that, like those areas. She says sometimes I even felt safer in
oh,
because of the death threats that she would get.
oh
Her family would
God.
get death threats. She had a lot of people that were like thinking they were in love. I mean, this is over decades of her
Yeah.
life that these viewers would see her and they would get obsessions with her.
Yeah, you
She
were very
had
grateful.
her from jail. Um,
Wow.
and then there'd be death threats on her because of interviews that she would do, or people knew were coming up that she had already done, that were going to be broadcast on TV.
Oh boy.
Uh, and then there were also groups. She's saying that there were groups of people that were of different, not just religious sectors, but just
Yeah.
just different sectors of, I'll say, just really bad people.
Like skinheads and things like that.
Yeah, she's
Not
saying
necessarily religion.
there wasn't just I constantly I had to learn, and she's like, with her
Oh yeah.
power suit on, I had to learn to deal with those elements of fear, all of the time for my not just myself but my family,
Oh
and,
yeah.
and go forward, and go forward,
Just push
and
through.
still live and still do my job and
Yeah.
still be tactful and still be understanding and still be able to bring the good stuff and bring the hard stuff and bring it all. And she says, and you know what? I brought it on.
You did. Couple
You
more
hear this,
questions.
Barbara?
it might go a couple of minutes over, but just two more questions. Did you ever ask a question that you regretted asking? That's not here on the list, but I thought it just came to me. For
She said,
whatever reason.
yeah, she says, there was so much that was edited out of what the work that she did do. Okay, so much that was edited out. And the same thing happens with Oprah, and who she interviews. And it gets so edited on TV that she says, really, what's a shame is some of the questions that I ask that really could do so much more for people that were edited out with
Oh.
specific players, with specific people that are lost in TV archives in the back,
Well, regardless of whether it's edited or not,
Yeah.
did you ever, was there a question that you thought, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have asked that. Maybe something that hurt somebody's feelings or uh,
Uh,
it was created a dangerous situation, anything.
okay, so there was so much more she wanted to ask that she didn't get to. She's saying that. And then she's saying that, did she interview Princess Diana? We gotta look this up.
Sure, probably.
Yeah, there were I'm feeling this really high emotionally state of this female, right? And it's like what she really wanted to ask was like, are you okay? You
Yeah.
know, and she didn't. Um, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little lost in her thoughts right now
Yeah,
because she's
no, take your time.
talking about like it's just sometimes I unintentionally have conversation, like because
Oh,
now
yeah, I know. Yeah.
I'm like, do you have regrets? You know what I mean? Like, do you have any regrets? Like, is there any,
Yeah.
and
Anything you wish
yeah,
you bit your tongue,
so
in other words.
yeah, God, so many. She says, it, but it's more at the beginning because she was controlled a bit
Yeah,
by obviously the
corporates.
bigger, the production, and, she did have a lot of control though too. It looks like she said I earned that control that
Oh,
she
yeah,
got.
you did.
Um, I don't know why I can't get her to answer
That's
that direct
fine. It's probably
question.
something where you hurt somebody's feelings, I would think, and you regretted it. Maybe. You could
She
just
said,
give us a general like that, or something that you asked that put somebody in danger. I mean, just maybe just say the cause of the regret.
she says the cause of the regret is really not like when I didn't appreciate the value of what was the most authentic side of somebody. I was asking them questions at times based on what you would think the viewership would want to hear, but
Oh,
really
yeah.
who they authentically are, those questions got missed sometimes. And I regret that
Okay.
because there could have been a lot more for just people to be able to understand them as humans. But it wouldn't have changed anything anyway. There were times that people that she interviewed, quite a few of them actually, um, that she wished that she had put questions differently to them. So that way it wasn't as harmful to their reputation.
Oh, okay.
She wanted to help. She really did want to
Yeah,
help. She
I
didn't
feel
want to
that
say
in her.
anything to incriminate them, to get them in more trouble, or to make them feel bad about themselves, or to get their family upset. You
Okay,
know, and
that's good.
that's why she's not like, well, this one time and this one thing, because it was a lot of
Oh,
energy,
no. Yeah, I understand.
a lot of
Like,
time, and a lot of
I
people.
got what I was seeking. Last question. What is the future of mainstream media in the next 10 years? Will it die out? And if it does, what will replace it?
But we're already starting to see the shift.
Oh,
First
really?
off, with she's using me as an example. She says, Abby, what did you do last night? And she's right. I don't pay for cable anymore. Like I have Netflix, I have Hulu, I have like Vizio, like I have all these things like TiVo, whatever. And so before I went to bed, I told you about this shooter that just happened. I wanted to find out like if they found him.
Yeah.
So I went onto my phone and then I went on to, moved my phone over to news. And then I started watching like all the local clips from each news station in the area to see if all the information was correct and the same, and if all the outlets were giving the same information. So YouTube uh, is definitely a huge one for me. And she's saying that yes, she says that's the thing, that's what I'm talking about, the authentic news, and how you can really dive into it, and you can get the information, you can find out the atrocities, you can find out what really is happening now, whereas back in the day it was like they only had a couple options. Now we have so many. She says, so she thinks it's a ridiculous thought process to allow yourself to be the victim, she's saying, of socialization, with allowing ourselves to be part of the, oh, woe is me, I'm getting driven fake news. She says, no, you have a choice.
You have a responsibility to I mean, before it was like an old man smoking a cigarette said, all right, people, now we're going to talk about Korea. And if you don't know where Korea is, get yourself a goddamn map. Is that kind of grumpy old smoker? That was the news, man.
So the people I really feel for, the people you should really feel for, she says, are the ones that don't have access to technology.
Yeah.
The people that are in
Throughout the
Cambodia,
world. Yeah.
that have nothing, the people that are in, Afghanistan, or she's saying the word Kuwait, from those wars, and the people in Korea, North Korea, the people in China, actually.
Yeah.
Just how these different countries in these different ways, like you and I are American. We both know there's a lot of people viewership here that's not American, right? And so I guess it's just interesting how,
It is, yeah.
People, different countries, she's saying, are led to believe different things because of different dictator situationships, that can control the media. Whereas we as Americans, she said, we are very lucky.
Yeah.
She said, to have the liberty to be able to choose.
Yeah.
To not allow ourselves to fall victim to fake news, and what that even.
One last question, even though we're going over. What do you think is the most unbiased source of news right now, Miss Walters? And then we'll close.
I'm asking her, I'm like, TikTok? She's laughing.
I don't know. I mean,
okay, the most unbiased of news. Gosh, it's so simple. She says your own opinion and of what you're seeing and what you're processing. How is that not news? She says, how are you not allowing yourself to feed yourself authentic news? And careful of what you say, careful of how you transmit it.
yeah.
Careful, be watchful and be mindful and be cautious of how you're protecting your own ego, and
Oh, yeah.
aware of these different networks and how they're producing themselves, and how if she's saying, it's funny how the whole fake news, like how those words and those things became slogans almost for various purposes.
Yeah.
We'll put it that way, she says.
Yeah, no, I understand.
And how politically driven a lot of these fake news
so much
is. So
on all sides. Really.
She says, watch your news the way you're going to watch it. Don't watch it from just one angle. Watch it from many. She says, educate yourself.
And use your intuition to search for the truth.
Right.
You're right. It's hard to have one idea and then somebody proves you wrong, but you want to hold on to that idea. No, I don't believe in yours. I believe in mine. And that's what's caused so much division. But
that's how you're transmitting it.
Yeah, right.
She says, you have control over the transmitting of the news through your watches, through your phones, through your visual cues, your facial expression. She says that was very hard for me to learn, and I understand because I don't have a poker face either. To learn to not to keep that face
Yeah.
and be able to transmit information at the happiest times, at the worst of times, but allow somebody to make up their own mind and their
Yeah.
own judgment. She says that is a gift. That is a God-given gift you have, is to make up your own mind and your own thought process about something. But be careful, she says, how you transmit that, because it
Yeah.
does produce an energetic flow which can manifest.
Right. All right. Thank you, Miss Walters. I really appreciate this. Thank you, Abby, for such a masterful job. Thank you, Erik, for intervening masterfully when needed. You guys, please subscribe to our channel and also the Atlantis Scalar channel. And I love you all. Bye.
Bye. Eric's got his hand on my shoulder going like this. He's like, it's okay. It's over. Calm down. Calm down.
Bye. That was
Bye.
great.